but I know that feeling where you feel defeated and there's like, you can't see the light.
You really just want to live life. Like, you don't want to just be on your couch all the time and like not have a life. Like,
stability.
I want stability, please.
So I really just wish you'd give yourself some grace. That's what I want you to do, is give yourself some grace, because it is okay. It's okay to be that chill parent.
Hello, welcome to episode 6 of the Talk About Traumatized podcast. We are all back today.
Yay.
It is an exciting day. Yay! I don't really have much else to say on that. I will just go straight into a trigger warning. We talk about sensitive topics. We talk about sexual assault. We talk about possibly eating disorders, suicide ideation. You know, really, we hit the gumption on a lot of things that some people might not enjoy hearing about. However, there's a lot of people who might also enjoy hearing about it. We don't try to make the conversation really heavy or sad, but if those are the feelings we're feeling, we're also going to respect that too. And we want this to be a safe place for everybody. So that's why we put the trigger warning in. But like I said, just do your due diligence listening. If it gets too heavy, you can go ahead and log out. If not, keep listening because it'll be a good episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. And we're happy you're with us today. Now there's so many of us here. I'm like, who am I going to ask? I feel like, Gigi, I already asked about your week, but the episode has not heard about your week. Or especially because it's been a couple weeks. So if you want to go over... Yeah, you've had a lot happen in the last few weeks. So if you want to talk about it, go for it.
I'm trying to think. Now that I have to talk about what has happened, I can't think of it. But basically, I finally made the final move with all the horses and everything up to Georgia. I had a bit of a breakdown because I received my wedding dress and I didn't fit in it. So I had to, you actually putting in the trigger warning about eating disorders. I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to talk about. Because I didn't fit in it, and like I didn't fit, you know, it didn't fit like the first time where like I was like, okay. So I put it on and I had to crash diet because I can't make it bigger. And it's expensive. It's not like I went and it's not expensive, like, you know, $200 was spent on it.
Yeah.
I would have bought a bigger one. Like I've gotten to the point, or at least you know, in my head where I've gotten to a point where I was like, well, I'll just buy a bigger dress. You know, I'll buy clothes that fit me, not I'll try to fit into the clothes. Mm-hmm. But it's a very delicate kind of situation where that's not how it works. You have to fit into the clothes. You also have to order a dress out like 11 months before your wedding. And then you're going into a very stressful time of planning and like, you know, dealing with families and dealing with like spending a bunch of money on yourself, when I don't want to be, as, you know, even though my family might think I want to be the center of attention, I don't want to stand up there and be the center of attention all day. I'll have my moments where I will want to be, but all day seems like a fucking lot. And then trying to like, I don't know, rationalize spending so much money to make, you know, my husband and I, which we're already married, we're just having a party. Mm-hmm. My husband and I's center of attention is a lot. And then I get into the dress and I'm like, zip it up, zip the dress up. And I'm like, so I had to like crash diet, and I was so upset about it because I was like, dude, I've come so far. And it sucks because I know exactly what I have to do. I downloaded my little app and I got ready and I was like, yeah, I already know what I have to eat. And I don't think John has seen that side of me before where I was like, oh, I can't eat that. That's got 150 calories in it. And well, that's got like 150 calories in it. He's like, how do you know that? I'm like, oh, I know everything.
It's stored.
It's in here. But then this week, the beginning of this week, I went to go and get the dress hemmed and like
Mhm.
everything sized. And I was like, well, let's see if it fits now. And she zipped it right up and she said, it fits perfect. And I was like, of course it does. I know what I'm doing, which sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I
That
don't want to
sounds
know.
horrible.
And so then I have to stand there for like an hour and a half, and she's fucking like pinning the bottom. And then right at the end, in the mirror, she looks at me in the eyes through the mirror. She grabs my waist and she shakes me and said, don't you dare put any weight on. And I was like, okay.
Oh no.
So yeah, big week for me. I was like, okay. And when like when shit like that happens, I literally I have to shower in the dark. Like John and I shower together a lot of the time because that's just like where we can actually have a conversation with each other and like have no distractions
Yeah.
around each other. And most of this week I was like, lights off. We're showering in the dark today again.
Mhm.
So it's been bad, but it's been good because the dress fit. So
Uh, as somebody who does not want to promote the crash diets, I will deem that as I'm happy the dress fits. I so sadly wish you did not have to or feel like you had to diet in order to fit it, because I guess my question was, when I raised my hand, was like, right, because you said you took it to a seamstress and they tailored it, and I know wedding dresses are finicky, but were they not able to like
they can't extend it because it's like
interesting
a lot of the wedding dresses, they're not like, it's not like a, you know, super traditional corset where
Yeah.
you're like strapped in. Some dresses are. I did not
Mhm.
choose that, but it's still a bodice that has I guess spines in it. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it does from the outside. It's a comfortable dress, but just the way that they're fitted is like, this is
Mhm.
that's the way it is. And they can make it shorter, or you know, they can change. If I have straps, I can change the straps, I can change the sleeves, but the thing that goes around your waist cannot be changed. They can only make it smaller.
Yeah.
And so
I
like throughout this whole process, I like finally had gotten to a point where I'm like healed, or at least healed enough to like recognize that's not a healthy mindset. Shake it off. You're fine. Go off
Mhm.
about your day. You know what I mean? Oh, the clothes don't fit. Buy fucking bigger clothes. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And also, my bra size finally went up since I've been like healing. So it's like winning.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I'm winning. And then I was like, wow, I literally have to do all the toxic things that I thought were cool, or not even cool, I thought were necessary.
Mhm.
And now I'm looking back, I'm like, wow, that was so unnecessary. And I work all fucking day. I'm hungry. Like, and it's not like I even eat that much. I'm just eating the amount that I'm supposed to eat for my size and for how much work I do.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I don't know.
No,
It's
that
fine.
sounds awful, and it's not fine. Actually, I am on a train of trying to not normalize it. And so I've actually, this has been the last 2 weeks, eating disorders in general and kind of just like eating in general have all been topics that I've found myself in conversations about with multitudes of people. That workshop, I think I talked about it in the last episode. We spent a great deal of time that day talking about eating disorders. Specifically, like there was one girl who had a very similar story to mine, or at least how her like eating disorder progressed and things like that. It was a really healing moment for us to both like sit there and like talk to each other about it, but it never stops to like hurt too. Like I I think I'm at a point where I won't ever regress back to where I was in an eating disorder. I think I have, first of all, developed enough like safeguards, right? There's enough people around me who are aware that these are things that I've suffered from and went through, and they're not going to just let me fall into that again. But also, like, if this has been a really, really hard thing for me to deal with, right? When I got pregnant, I was gaining normal weight. Like, yes, I was gaining a little bit more. This is where it's very subjective because when you get pregnant, it's all over the place. But it wasn't until I got the blood clot that I was bedridden. And then I moved into my dad's house. And my dad, love you to death, Father. You have the worst eating habits in the world, though. Only eats processed foods and quite literally never has like fresh fruit, never has anything in his house. This is for financial reasons, though, too, which I could write so many papers about how your financial status really determines how well you get to eat in life. But I pretty much just got put into an environment where as a kid, like I would just snack and snack and snack. And then I was pregnant, couldn't get out of bed, was uberly depressed. And so I gained like a lot of weight in my last trimester. But it's been, right? I've been so hell-bent over the last 16 months. I do not want to hate myself into a good body, right? Like that is so much. And there's been so many times where it's like, I want to, like, right? I want to body. Because, right? Yes, very subjective too. Also very subjective because I now am healthier than I ever was when I weighed less. When I weighed my smallest weight, I was so unhealthy. It's not even funny. You talk about seeing stars every day. I was seeing stars every day and people are like, oh my God, you look so good. I want to uppercut anyone who literally feels the need to like comment on somebody's body when they've lost weight, because that has been, and this is the conversation I had with the other girl, the hardest part of everything is knowing the way people spoke and treated me when I was a smaller weight versus, right? And I said it in that meeting because the whole thing was such a really great thing. But I said, next time you go to compliment somebody, compliment their personality. Like really, like the need that people feel to compliment other people's looks. I make it my life mission to like, right? Because that's so much more great than anything else in the world anyway, is how somebody acts and treats other people. And
or the way
like
they
that.
make you feel or something, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see so many things. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't know who all in my family listens to this and stuff. But I have a family member who, like, in the last week, I have become worried about. And it's like, I don't even know. I was talking about it to my boss the other day. It's like, I don't even know how to necessarily go about it because a lot of it, right, could be projection based on my own experiences. But also, it's probably not because I had these experiences, which is why I can, like see it. And it scares me. It scares me because there's this horrible societal expectation and like, right, just like this, like why do 6-year-olds feel the need to diet, right? Like it's so deep rooted in our society that like, because that was what it's shown is like girls start feeling the need to diet when they're children. Like we should be, it drives me crazy because I'm a year into this journey and I feel like I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be, but I really want to figure out the intuitive eating. But it also like, that means I need to surround myself with foods that are good for my body and not bad. And I feel like I run into this problem like living with other people where it's like I recognize where I'm at in my journey. I probably don't have the self-control that I want to have to say no to the processed food if it's right there. So I keep like wanting to ostracize myself, which is not possible, like with the way my living situations are set up and stuff. But it's like I just want to like, I don't know. I've been thinking about it so much lately because it's like I don't want to diet. Through it all, I have no word, never ever again in my life do I ever want to say the word diet. I don't want to diet. I do actively want to like lifestyle change in the way that like right whenever I'm going to eat food, instead of like, I don't know, like grabbing the bag of chips, I want to grab the fresh fruit. But there is a big like mental shift because sugar is addicting, right? And I have to recognize I've had these addictions.
It's more addicting than cocaine.
Yeah.
It's like, literally more addicting than cocaine.
And the way I grew up, it wasn't an option whether or not like that's the food I was going to get and things like that. And I don't hold any anger because like I said, I think it's a bigger financial issue than anything. And who do I blame? Ronald Reagan for all of this.
For everything.
Literally for everything. Me and my dad were talking about this last night.
Everything that is wrong in the world.
We're like, it's Ronald Reagan's fault. So it just makes me so sad that you even like had or felt like you had to do that. Like,
Yeah, and it's
because
like
it's triggering.
it is triggering, and it like I said, it was at a point where I'm at a point where I didn't like. I would be okay, we make the dress bigger or we buy a bigger dress, but I can't because again, financially, that doesn't make any sense. You know, and also time-wise, I couldn't just go and order. I've picked my dress. I can't just be like, "Hey, same dress, same
Mhm.
modifications, size bigger." And it wasn't even a full size bigger. You know what I mean? Like I can't. Oh, sorry, it's going to take 10 months for it to get to you. This is the dress you have. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then every single person that had, aside from my maid of honor, but every other person that has like been around me for this whole dress thing has commented on, can't gain weight now. Gotta watch what you eat now. Can't gain weight now. Every single person. And I'm like, dude, whether it's
Just
like,
gave me body chills.
yeah, whether it's people who I'm close with or people who work at the shop or the seamstress or somebody who helped me put a fucking veil on to try it, who did not help me zip up a dress or pick a dress. They were just like, oh yeah, try this on. No, now you can't gain weight. I'm like, dude, you just put a veil on my head. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
And it was like, and it's all happening around the same time that like I have 4 animals living in the apartment with me, and I had to get them certified for emotional support because it's expensive. It is why do pets have to pay so much for rent? I understand paying a deposit. First of all, my animals don't chew up carpets or floorboards because my dogs especially come with me to work every day. So they get hella exercise. They don't have behavioral issues like that. Don't pee inside. Like, we're good, right? So I would still understand paying the deposit, but whole other topic. Then, so I have to talk to a therapist and they have to deem me worthy of emotional support pets. And I did not tell one lie about any of the animals on how they emotionally support me. And I start crying. It's been a big few weeks for emotions and just like unintentionally regressing. And I don't think I'm regressing, but I'm being put into situations where like I could. Exactly. I definitely could. And there's been a ton of good things that happen. Like I'm at a great new place and like I'm at a spot where I don't have to work right now. I should be working. Like, sorry. I don't have to make money right now. I should be making, but I'm not going to because I'll do that later. I'm stressed out. Like,
It's okay to relax, Gigi.
yeah.
I know I'm supposed to be texting you this every day. I should set up a shortcut on my phone so it just sends it to you automatically and I don't have to do it.
I know.
But it's okay to relax.
And that's like a whole nother thing, like going back to the eating disorder stuff. Since I've actually put on the weight that I'm supposed to have for the size of my body and for the physical work that I do, like I'm getting healthier. Like I don't have as many bolts. Like my hairline, I'm wearing a headband right now. I'm not pushing hair in front of my head because I can grow hair, and my nails are growing. Like things are normal.
You're getting nourishment.
Exactly. I'm getting what I need, and I'm just, but no.
I say fuck them if you want the honest truth. And I know it's not as easy to do that as it
It's
is
so
to
hard.
say that. It's like a whole other thing.
Well, my other, I guess, my alternative for if for some reason, because the wedding is in like 7 weeks, if it doesn't fit at 7 weeks, I'm going to hole punch in my dress and get a ribbon. I'll just fucking leave the back open, and I'll just tie me in. This is how it's going down now, because I'm not doing that. I like to, at nighttime, after John and I eat dinner, which is a healthy dinner. Like yesterday, homemade green curry, super good with like wild rice. We're not out here eating like shit. But afterwards, when we're watching a movie, I want to have my cookies and milk. And I want
It's
to have as
okay to
many
have
cookies as
cookies
I
and milk.
want. Exactly.
It's okay.
But exactly. So I'm doing that. And if I have to tie myself in, duct tape, baling twine, fucking ribbon, I don't care. Zip ties, I don't care. Just don't look at the back of the dress if you want it to be aesthetically pleasing.
I'm certain you'll look incredible no matter what. I am actually 100% certain that you will look amazing. And we actually did that with my prom dress, I think, senior year. It had a zipper, and the zipper actually fit. But because I was stressed about, right, between the time that I ordered it versus, and I have a very fluctuating body, very, very fluctuating. They gave me the option to just add a corset, like take the zipper out. They were like, it's only like 30, $40. I don't know. This was years ago. Inflation is probably hundreds of dollars now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my senior year prom dress had a zipper, and I asked them because it was literally just an option. Like when ordering it, they were like, we can switch this to a corset back. And I said, absolutely, yes, please. My dress junior year had a corset back, and it made me feel safer. It made me feel like if I ever do get married and that's something, I will do the same thing. I will get a corset back because like the situation you have found yourself in sounds so triggering to me that it would possibly, especially while being under the stress of planning a wedding and doing all these things, like would send me over the edge. Like I'm like, this would reel me.
I was over the edge.
Yeah.
I was over the edge. I was like, nope, this is it. Like I was freaking out. I feel like I brought myself back pretty quickly though, so
that's good. That's why we do self-work.
Yeah.
Reese, how are you doing today?
I'm not well. I'm just kind of trying to get through life at the moment. So I just kind of.
You want to elaborate on that? I haven't talked to you in like so long.
Yeah, I just kind of. I've been struggling with all kinds of stuff. Like, my health is shit. So doing anything is hard. I went to Universal with Marcy, and that was fun. I was scared the whole time, and she was over here laughing. Keep in mind, she lost her voice the morning of going, so she was like not able to talk, but she was still giggling on all the rides, and I'm over here about to shit my pants. Like no joke, because I have IBS. So immediately I was like, oh no, like right before the ride. But I held it together. But I got halfway through. We got there at 9, and I think around like 1 o'clock I started feeling it. Like I started getting dizzy, and I had to sit down, and I was just like thinking to myself, I was like, is this how it's gonna be like the rest of my life? Like just trying to do something fun and trying to do something good, and just having to slow down all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Are they able to, because you said something was wrong with the transfusions you got the last time. What's going on with those?
Well, I had blood work done, and they didn't check the right thing. So I have to go back now. But the problem is it's so hard because everybody's been sick, and so they finally got better. But then Emma got sick again. She just threw up for no reason. She's fine, but they don't know why she threw up. So she missed a couple of days of school. So my weeks have not been like regular weeks where I can go on Tuesday or Thursday, when the girls go to get my blood work done. And so I'm just falling behind again. And my insurance, I don't even know will cover it, because now they say I make too much money, which I don't. Like, I'm barely able to afford anything, and they're telling me I make too much money and that we have to do self-pay on some stuff. So I have to find out if I'm going to have to self-pay for that. Like, I'm already worried about getting my dental done in April because I have to get my teeth removed and I have to do oral surgery and be put under for that. And they don't know if it's going to cover it. So I'm waiting right now to just, if I don't have a phone call, great, then they'll do it. But if I have a phone call, then they're not going to cover it. So it's just things that I need to get done. I don't know if the insurance will cover it. So I'm doing everything I can, like taking like B12 gummies and iron and stuff like that, even though I know it's not going to work because my doctor already told me it's not going to work because I have ferritin level issues, which is keeping blood in me. Not like the hemoglobin, which is my iron, is fine. It's the problem is I'm not keeping my blood. And I know why I'm not keeping my blood. Because I have bleeding issues, during womanly time of the month or whatever, and it doesn't replenish. And so I need the iron infusions. And the iron infusions don't make me feel like Superwoman, but they get me through it. And they get me back to normal to where I have somewhat of energy. So the problem is that when there's one thing off in your body with the fibro, it makes everything hurt and it makes you not be able to move. So I'm over here missing out on doing stuff with my kids and doing stuff like Universal and things that just should be fun and like you enjoy. And I just have to keep slowing down. And like I'm already as slow as you can possibly be. Like I only get off the couch to do like normal things, like which is take care of the kids and then maybe clean my house once a week. Like I don't have a life other than that. And we have stuff like Universal that was supposed to be like a silver lining and that was supposed to be fun, and we did have fun, but it was like I hurt so bad by the end of the day that I was crying because it just hurt. And so I was like, with the walking and like constantly, getting on and off rides and having your body sling around, it's just like, it was fun while I was on it, but then it's like as the day went by, it just got worse and worse. And I was just like, I don't feel like
it
feel
wore on you.
Yeah, and going to Universal as a healthy person is tolling as it is. So when you're sick, that kind of stuff is...
Well, I didn't do any of the major rides, not like the Rocket or the Hulk or anything like that. I just did the simulation rides.
But even if you're just walking around, especially just with overstimulation, like that place, I literally had a mental breakdown one Halloween Horror Nights in there because I was like, we're all sheep and we're being pulled through these lines and like paying for this subpar entertainment, like because it's overstimulating as hell. And I can't imagine also going through like physical issues and health issues while being there. So
and like but that's the thing is like I remember there was a time where I could do it and just keep trying to like try little things at a time to see if I can handle it. So I and it's like I'm glad I did it because I would have regretted it if I didn't do it. But it's still the fact that like it's hard to do it and you're forcing yourself into something that you really just want to live life. Like you don't want to just be on your couch all the time and like not have a life. Like it's been really hard. And then like
tearing up for you.
Yeah, and it's just like that. And then like when Gigi was talking about like I've been having a lot of self-image issues because I can't get off the couch and I can't exercise and I can't do all these things. They're like, oh, try this, try that. I was like, you don't understand. Like those things hurt me. Like I have to have a specific type of exercise, and things that I have to have a specific type of exercise you have to pay for. Like the To Your Health Spa, I have to pay to go in their jacuzzi and their water pool and to do their water stuff. Like I have to pay for that. I don't have money to pay for that. Like I'm raising 2 kids. Like I don't have that. And I have a house full of 5 people along with cats and dogs. Like I don't have time for that. And I don't also have the energy. Like, and I need to do the infusions, but I don't know if I'm going to even be able to pay for them. Like those like things that I need, like I'm not getting. And so it's like it's so frustrating because like we're supposed to go up and drop the girls off to my mother-in-law's in the summer, and we're supposed to come back here and have like a summer for all three of us, because we haven't had all three of us since like a year ago. Like we haven't been able to be together. And so they're supposed to go to a concert when we get back from dropping the girls off. And, you know, his mother and, you know, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, I know they're going to have lots of fun because my niece and nephew are up there. They're going to have a great time. And they're probably going to be able to do more with them, because his mom has had more of a break than I have. But, like, when they get back, they're supposed to go to a concert together. And then we're supposed to all three go to SeaWorld and Aquatica together, because she's never been. Marcy's never been there. And so I'm like wanting to do it because I'm wanting to get a year-round stuff for the kids, because I really want to I want to be that mom. I want to be the mom I was with Emma, where like I used to take the kids to places like that and have fun and go all day and like do that. And I know I'm gonna have to sit and slow down, and like they're gonna have to take over, and it's just so frustrating because it's like no matter what you do, you can't force yourself to do it. There's like, what am I supposed to do? Crawl? Like, am I supposed to crawl and do as much as possible and like hurt myself and then be down for like 2 or 3 days? But that's the thing, is I'm pushing myself because I want to be the mom I used to be, and like I'm not anymore. And it's hard to live like that. So it's like that. And then like I'm having body image issues too, where like, you know, I'm weighing more than I've ever weighed before because I can't get up and do all the things that I need to do. And I'm constantly breaking out, and like it's painful. So it's like all these things are just like, there's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Reese, I am so sorry that you are going through all that, because it is like in the women's center, one of the things that we say is like, right when we're talking about ability or disabilities and stuff, even when people like are talking about it, they're like, I have a temporarily abled body, because you never know when something will happen that's going to slow you down, when something's going to happen, right? We don't get a choice in that. If anybody had a choice, we would all choose to live in a healthy, fit body. I hate to literally say like fight your insurance, but on all regards, don't ever not fight against your insurance, because it is corrupt.
I do.
And yeah, I know you do. And I just, if you ever like need advice or like anything, like please, like I will even gear up if I could make the call for you to angrily bitch out an insurance company. I would love to. Because they will do anything not to pay, but at the end of the day, if you're covered and there are certain things, right, fight it. Because what they'll do is try to, right, deny it in the hopes that you just won't fight it, because majority of people will not fight it, and the minute you put up a fight, they'll do some sort of addendum.
Shut you up.
Exactly. And then the other thing I wrote down just as like a possibility, because I'm assuming water aerobics and that kind of stuff is exercise wise where you can go and like things like that. The YMCA has a program that you can apply for to pay like $15 a month, and that includes full membership to the pool and full membership to their classes, which they do water aerobic classes. And I highly recommend at least trying to look into it. I don't know, right, because you're married and you're in a different financial situation than me, but it literally does not hurt to try, just as a resource, because that stuff is expensive, and you are raising children, and this world is horribly inflated for everyone right now. No sort of wages have caught up to the inflation that has taken place, and I think majority of Americans are suffering in some sort of way. Like, right, Gigi, you were talking about the cost of a wedding. It is literally like doubled in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But Reese, yeah. My heart literally goes out to you, because I mean, just having the blood clot made me already very sympathetic to, what is the word? People with chronic conditions. That's what it is. But I don't even want to sit here and pretend to like know what it's like, because I went through something that was temporarily disabling for me, but I have since entered, right, I mean, I still have problems from it, but it doesn't stop me completely in life and things like that. But my point of bringing up the temporarily thing, I hope that this is temporary for you and your doctors are able to figure out. Well, I know that you will always have the fibromyalgia, right? Okay. I understand that that's not something that goes away, but I hope you're able to get on like the right sort of plan for medicine and the right sort of plan for moving your body in a way that helps you. I watch, there's a person on YouTube, he's in the Try Guys. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but he also suffers from a very debilitating chronic condition, but he posts a lot of videos about the things that he does that helps his body, because he has to, right? That's also the thing, is his life now is partially spent doing things just to make sure his body doesn't get to the point of aching and things like that. But I do highly recommend maybe like sourcing out more like YouTubers or just like people online who have their own experiences and who have like, right, gone through the path of like trying to figure out what helps their body. Because I can sit here all day long and try to give you advice, but the truth is I have never gone through what you're going through, so my advice is just me talking out of my ass. I think there are great people who can hopefully help you get to that point of like figuring out what makes your body feel the best.
It gets to a point where you're just like, you go into these points where you're like, okay, I'm great, I'm gonna do everything, I'm gonna try everything, I'm gonna do this, do that, do da 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 da, and you try it for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're just back to being in debilitating pain, and then you're back on the couch for like 3 weeks. So it's just like, it's like an up and down, up and down, up and down, and so you get just horribly depressed because you're just like, no matter what I do, I'm gonna always end up here. So it's just like makes you to the point where you're just like want to give up constantly. And then you look at your kids and you look at your husband and you look at your girlfriend and you're just like, all these people are trying so hard, and it makes you feel even more guilty because you're just like, what can I do?
Don't feel guilty.
Don't feel guilty.
I know, but I know
Not your fault.
they try so hard to like help me, and it's just like there's nothing you can do. Like I've already been told that this condition is, there's not a treatment for it. There's only things that might help it. So it's just like they're still doing studies, they're still trying to figure it out. And so, you know, I'm doing everything I possibly can like to make it work. And I can say that I did do Universal. Like I did do it. Like I went from like 9 to 7, and I did the thing, and I rode all the rides, and I, you know, got all the little trinkets and things like that. And I had a butterbeer, and the butterbeer was so cool because it had like little foamies at the top, and it looked like a little boiling cauldron thing, and it was very cute. So I like looked for very positive things, you know, and I'm just like, but it gets to the point where you just remember like you have to slow down, and like there were so many things I wanted to do, and it started off really strong because like I had rested like all like 3 days before that because I was like, I'm ready to do this shit. Like,
Yeah.
fucking way I'm gonna not do that shit. I've been waiting for months for that trip. Like, and that's where like I'm pretty much at. Like now I'm looking forward to things to do, and I know it's gonna hurt. So I'm trying to be positive and just be like, I know it's gonna hurt, but I did it. Like I did the things. Like, and that's where I'm at right now. Is like I have such a strong will to like live and be like out there that like I'll do whatever I can to make it happen. And whether it be like drinking like espresso coffees and taking ibuprofen and like taking B12 and doing all the things right before I leave, you know, I do all the preparation to make it work. So, but it's still like it makes me feel bad afterwards because afterwards I reap the repercussions of it. Like, and that's what sucks about it is you have to be expecting that. You have to be ready for, if you're gonna live life with what I have, you're gonna have to be ready for the pain afterwards. And the pain can be very hard because I have triggers with pain because I was in pain a lot as a child because I was always hit or like abused or whatever. So with that, they already told me that it's very common with people that have had a lot of sexual physical trauma that they end up with fibro. And it's one of those things where you have that P substance in your brain and it just makes it to where it's happening all the time instead of if you cut yourself, you know what I mean? Or if you hurt your leg, it's like those chemicals just constantly go with people like me. They don't ever slow down. So it's like you have to almost have your mind really sharp and you have to have your mind like really good to handle like the torture because it's basically like torture. Like, and that's what sucks about the whole thing because I can imagine there's probably been a few people that have thought about suicide when they have this condition because of the fact that it just makes you feel useless, especially if you have gone from somebody who does so much stuff with their kids and their family to not being able to hardly do anything. It makes you feel like that. But I got to a point where I just was like, no, I want to live. I want to be like here, you know? And so I fight it like all the time, but just sometimes it wins. And sometimes I have to just be like, it's okay. Like, we'll do this. We got it. Like we've done this before. So
Yeah. Gosh, I got lost in my like thinking processes listening to you. Because my heart just really goes out to you. Like it really truly goes out to you. And then when you were talking about how like you'll have like really highs and then they'll eventually lead to the lows, that's actually right. I don't want to necessarily completely correlate it to your trauma because it's literally your body too, right? That's where when I say this, it's with slight hesitation. But in like therapy, like at the end of December, January, I hit a really big high, right? Like things happened in my life that set me on fire, like, right? They really lit me up. And I remember like being in therapy, like super just like exuberant and stuff. And my therapist is like, this is like the most I've seen you like be energetic, be energized, like really like elevated on life since I've seen you. And she's like, where do we go from here? Because she's like, you're going to crash. Like the thing about it is when you get high, you come down. And she said the goal isn't for you to reach these exuberant highs because they will inevitably lead to these lows. It's to get to a point where you recognize on your way up that it's like kind of happening and try to like meet somewhere in the middle so like the crash doesn't come crash, right? Because I hit the crash. Yeah, I hit the crash and I was like, damn, if only I had like really secured that middle ground somewhere along the way, that would be great. But it's not like, right, like I said, I literally still also experience it. It's a trauma response. It's I mean, it's so many responses. Like I said, yours is also enabled by your body's condition. So that is too, like, right, a part of it that I think I'm always a person who likes to help people and give people advice, and I wish there was more advice I could give you other than like I hope you're able to find the things that help your body, because at least from what I've understood about and learned from people with chronic conditions, it's not so much like, right, you can't turn it off. That's the thing about being chronic, is there's no shutting it off or like choosing when to turn it off. I think the big goal that I hear people talk about the most is figuring out what helps your body the most so you can find that middle ground. And it's not going to stop you from every once in a while peaking high and low, but it's to the goal, I think, for everybody at any point is to try to get us to sit along this middle ground for as long as possible. So we are better prepared for when we do enter highs and lows, because the goal is to get us back to that middle ground. I think I've never found that middle ground, and that's what I'm trying to find now. And
yeah, and that's my middle ground with the iron, is that once the iron is fixed, like, because I've had over 8 infusions and I know how the difference is, I can feel my body's difference when I don't have it. And when I don't have it, it hurts more. And that's why I'm fighting so hard to get the iron infusions, because it's important. Like, it's the one thing that will keep me going and won't hurt so much, because I almost have no pain when I have the iron infusions. I can go longer and it doesn't hurt as much.
I know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to feel sad with your specific conditions and everything, but I know that feeling where you feel defeated and there's like, you can't see the light, but I found the light for you. Number one, you said that you're more willing to live.
Yeah.
What? I feel like I've like, especially when we first met and we were in group and everything, like that was such a, like that wasn't even a part of the conversation. I don't know anybody who like that was a part of our conversation and that flowed so easily out of you. So proud of you. The second one was that you keep fighting and that you're willing to keep fighting. And I think like if you're having like the negative thoughts of that you can't like live up to the what you think the expectations your partners or your kids are setting for you to like be the super go-getting mom or be the partner that can go to SeaWorld and then go to Universal and then we're going to go to dinner and then we're going to do this and we're going to, you know what I mean? I think the fact that you're fighting is going above and beyond what a lot of people are willing to do. So you're not, you're not less than because physically you might not be able to hang at SeaWorld all day or you can't jump on the trampoline with the kids. You're still fighting. And that's setting the bar high. So good job.
Yeah, I feel like it just makes me feel bad because, like I said, I did so much stuff with my oldest, and with my youngest and my oldest now, I can't really do a lot. So it's like all I can do is be there and just, hang out with them and, watch TV with them and tickle them and, do the cuddling thing. And I can't really do the play, like run around crazy and do stuff outside. Like, I'm not able to do that stuff. And so it takes me, like, it makes me feel like the mom shame or like the mom guilt, because you're just like, you want to be with your kids so much. And I love my kids. Like, I love being one of the kids, like, and playing with them and being like in it. Like, you know what I mean? And I love, it was so cute because yesterday we went to Target and this was one of my roses, because we went to go get Emma new pants because she's getting really big and she needed new pants and new shoes. And so we went on like a girls trip, me, Marcy, and the girls. And then Mia found this little purse and she was just like, I got my purse and it had little cherries on it. And that was like so fucking cute. She was just carrying it around like, I got my purse. And that was like one of my highlights, because it's like I did not want to get up that day. Like, I felt so sick. It took me all day to get up and go to the store, but I'm glad I did because Mia was really happy and she was having fun, and she was grumpy that day too, and then Emma was having fun. So it was just like one of those things where I was like, I'm glad I did this. And see, I wouldn't have had this if I didn't fight past the being sick and not feeling great. So it was just like, I'm trying to take the little wins. Like
the glimmers.
Yeah.
We take the glimmers. Tiff?
Well, basically what I wanted to say was that I know you have a lot of like guilt or whatever about not being that parent that is like up and running and doing all these physical activities and, like all of these things that you want to do with your kids. But it is okay, 100% okay to be that parent that is the chill, like, let's sit and watch a movie, let's cuddle, let's do whatever you can. I mean, like, I don't know how well your kids are with like crafts and stuff, how well it holds their attention, but like these girls love it to just sit down and do crafts and like glue things and glitter things and sticker things, and you can still find some fun things to do and still not overexert yourself, because at the end of the day you do also have two other people that you can rely on that can kind of help with that, when they want to get outside and they want to be the physical and they want to roughhouse and they want to do all of this other stuff. So I really just wish you'd give yourself some grace. That's what I want you to do, is give yourself some grace, because it is okay. It's okay to be that chill parent that is not up and running and chasing and roughhousing. And if that's what you can do, like on days that you can do it. But on the days that you can't, don't be so hard on yourself, because you are dealing with something that is a chronic thing that does prohibit what you can do. And you, it kind of is like working within your means. And I know, like, I know it's easy to say that, and I know it's hard to deal with the mentality of like, you wish you could do more, but that's where it comes into where, like, I wish for you that you would just give yourself grace, because we all need it, and most of the time we don't get enough of it from ourselves.
And you deserve it.
100%.
We all deserve it.
You also
deserve the grace.
You also said it yourself. You're there, and I think that's the most important thing, that you're there for them. And you know, when they're older one day and they're going through life and they're stressing out, and who are they going to want to come and talk to? Not trampoline jump dad. They're going to be like, oh, get on the couch. I need to sit down and talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Like, this is still a vital part.
That's definitely something that I wish for, that I'll just be that parent that they can come to talk to, because I'm always level-headed. Like, I'm always the one who's just like the grounded mom that, like, okay, what's everybody fighting about? What's going on?
You will be. If you're cultivating that relationship, Reese, I want you to know you will be.
Yeah.
Because as long as you're watering those seeds, which I know you are, you absolutely will be. And they're gonna want to come to you. And I also would love to second Tiffany's, like, give yourself grace. But I also want to round it out that we should all be giving ourselves grace. I also want
everyone listening and watching should
literally every single person, like, take this as your message. That thing that you are just driving yourself crazy about yourself. Like, give yourself grace. Tiff, how are you doing?
Oh, not great, but I'm here.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Honestly, no, not specifically today. But it's like the overall gist of it is that it all just comes down to things that I've been fighting with, like, my whole life. And but I'm trying to take some steps, like, to not fix, because that implies there's something wrong, but like change, like make the lifestyle changes like you were talking about. And I tried to get back into therapy, but of course they closed the sexual assault center here because of funding issues that seemed to go back to how it was being mismanaged. But also it's just like an epidemic in society that we're just closing these places that people need for mental health reasons. So it's a little more difficult than I was anticipating, but there are some things that I'm going to be doing next week when I have a little more time, or this week when I have a little more time, to try to get the ball rolling on that again. But yeah, yesterday was a good day though. I mean, we kind of went, we went and tried this new, well, it's not new, they've been here like 8 months, this new restaurant. It's like a Jaws themed restaurant. It's like a burger place.
It's so Florida.
Jaws themed
well, originally they started off in Michigan. I guess. I don't know if they were under the same name or whatever. It's like a mom and pop place, I think. But anyway, they have like huge burgers, and so we went there, hung out, and then we went to Soul Essentials, and I tried to get. I know, I had a piece of Moldavite that I've had on layaway forever.
2021.
Yes, literally, it's almost been 3 years exactly since I put it on layaway. But the guy couldn't find the piece that I had on layaway. He's like, it's here. I'm just not familiar with their system. So just write down your phone number, whatever, and we'll call you when we find it. And I'm like, that's the universe saying maybe don't get the crystal that removes everything from your life and causes chaos right now. But I did get these new tarot cards. I have like 12 billion decks but I couldn't resist one more. But it's called the Harmony Tarot.
That looks cute.
Yeah, and it's a deck for growth, healing, and self-care. So I'm actually hoping this deck will be a lot nicer to me than my favorite deck, which is kind of mean.
Your favorite deck is mean.
It's very
mean to
mean.
me.
I mean, like, I need it. I need that whole, like, no, we're not doing this today. And I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. We're not. Because
Listen, so
Morgan, and the Morgan is like that. She's just very like, no, bitch, we're getting up and we're doing this shit. And I'm like, hey, okay.
My tarot deck has been telling me the same thing for years, like years and years and years, and I never listen. So, I mean, this one's probably going to tell me the same thing, only in a nicer way. But
maybe the delivery will change the outcome.
Maybe, probably not. But we'll see. I think I'm on the right path to doing the things that it's been telling me to do. So I don't know if it'll be more about the deck and less about the deck and more about me actually being at the point where I'm like, you really need to change something in your life. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, I had something I wanted to show you guys. Hold on. This is what I got from Universal.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
It's really cool.
We play a lot of board games at my dad's house, and we would use the fuck out of that.
It's like from the Harry Potter world, and it was only $20, and I was like, "What the fuck? It's only $20."
I was gonna say that's kind of amazing that was that cheap.
Yeah,
like someone switched the stickers at Universal. Because Universal's so expensive.
Someone brought their own price tag gun, is what happened.
They were like, "Let's fix it."
Yeah,
exactly. The waters were like $6 a piece. Like we drank like 2 bottles of water, and I was like, I've never paid $12 for two waters before in my life.
The airport.
Yeah, and also just water being expensive, I think, is ridiculous. Like, if you have to make money on it, like $1. Make it $1, because to be at Universal all day and drink 2 bottles of water, especially if it was not 2 bottles of water each, that's crazy. That's crazy. And because you can't afford another bottle of water, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
and 2 butterbeers.
You need more water. Everybody have a water break. I'm saying that, but my glass is empty, so I'm going to pretend.
Gigi, I specifically poured 3 bottles of water because we don't have a filter right now, so we're using bottled water, even though I save the planet, don't drink bottled water if you can. Anyway, I poured the 3 bottles of water in here because I was like, I'm going to drink my water today for Gigi and for myself, truly, because I am trying. I have really good days and really bad days, right back to that high and low thing. It's like, more than anything in the world, I'm like, I want stability. I want it. You know what I never give myself? Like, and it is a me thing at this point. If I chronically feel so unstable, because my life has changed a lot, literally in the last week of my life. I mean, in the last couple months, it's changed a lot, but literally specifically this last week of my life, it's just changed a lot. And again, and it feels like I do this thing multiple times a year where I feel like I'm in the passenger seat of a car and it's going super fast and I'm like, just hold on for dear life. Yeah. And eventually you'll end up and it'll slow down and it'll stop. And I'm so exhausted of living my life that way, because it's like, right, what I realize, and this is like me being very, very reflective this last week. Like I said, I think this was before you even got on, Tiff. I've done tarot cards so many times this week because I'm looking for answers in life, right?
Yeah.
What I've been doing and what I've done for I think too long is putting my stability in somebody else's hands, and hoping that they do with it what I want them to do with it, instead of taking on that role of stability myself. And it's not that it's always been optional or anything like that for me, right? It's not that I'm shitting on myself for doing that, but I'm at a point in life where if all I want is stability, the only person I need to look for that from is myself, right? Like, the only person I can rely. I have moved every single year since I was 18, and I am so tired of moving. I'm 25 now. I'm so fucking tired of packing my life into boxes and thinking that this is it. Like, I'm not going to move again. And then that so rapidly changing because and don't get me wrong, I think a large part of this is my astrology and my planets and the way I was born and the certain aspects I was born into. But it's also ultimately the way I view it, teaching me these lessons that I need to put the stability in my hands, right? So like this whole week, I've been just, right, I'm a very solution-based thinking. So if I have a problem, I'm chronically thinking of a solution or just trying to sort something out in order to come up with a solution. And right now I'm staying at my dad's house, and I know I could figure out a way that I could get a dorm on campus or something like that. They have family housing, so like I wouldn't be getting like a normal, it'd be an apartment for me and Chance. But I don't know, like I said, Gigi, today, I feel like I woke up today with a clearer head than I have in a long time. And I know ultimately if my goal is stability, I need to not do the thing that's going to financially put me on edge, right? Like, I don't want to do the thing that's going to put me in a position where I can't afford to get Chance clothes when he needs it, or I can't, right? I want to be able to provide for Chance so much. And what I need to be doing right now, I think, is giving myself this time to save up money. And I mean, ultimately, I know I want to buy a house for myself after having lived in a house versus renting. I don't want to rent. I don't ever want to rent ever again.
Such a waste of money.
It is literally, to me, it sounds like throwing money down the drain. So today, I literally, finally, for the first time, I was like, maybe instead of just like chronically searching for a way out of living with my dad, who's not forcing me out of his house, who's like literally not doing anything that's like whatever, maybe just give myself the deep breath of making this room an actual room, right? Like right now I'm living out of bags. That's also part of the problem, is I'm living out of bags. I haven't given myself the stability because I keep preparing for another change. And I'm like, I just need to, right? I know what I ultimately want. So instead of like, right, because my temporary wants are, right? And it goes back to just like, I do this thing where I feel like I have to be alone, right? And this has been me since I was a little tiny kid, because I feel like when I'm around other people, I'm not okay. And that's so horrible, because I also know that's such a traumatized, right? We as humans biologically crave other humans. We need them. And since as early as I could remember, I've wanted to shut myself into a room and like literally not talk to anybody, because that's the only place I feel safe. That is the only place where I feel like somebody else's voice is not going to come into my life and just like, I don't even know. When I'm alone, it's not even that I want to be alone. It's just that I feel better alone. I feel better alone than I feel around other people. But I always feel like that's like challenged at like my dad's house, right? Like I've played board games every single night this week. Every single night. I come from a board game family. I love board games. That's why I am so competitive. Apologies to anybody else who has to play with me. But it's because I was raised on it. Like I was raised playing board games. That's what we did. And I feel like this whole week I've not even allowed myself to enjoy it, because I've been so busy trying to figure out my next steps. What am I doing next? And it's not bad. I mean, career-wise, I actually think it's really pushed me in the right direction for making career moves, because ultimately, also at the end of the day, right, I don't want to serve. I will scream it from the top of my fucking voice, but when I left First Watch in Florida, I said I will never serve again. Not because I think serving is beneath me, not for any reasons. It's draining on my soul. I have served since I was 15, and people suck, right? They suck. And there's good things about serving, there's bad things about serving, whatever. But for me personally, it's really always been rooted in, I know this is not what I need to be doing, right? Like I know, especially right now where I'm in school and I am learning, and I feel like, right, as somebody who had a very non-traditional path with schooling, like so non-traditional, I feel bad for the 18 to 20-year-olds who went straight into school who don't recognize that the real world does not have those resources. They don't exist. So I feel very privileged in my place in school because I recognize that the world does not have these things, so I have to take advantage of them while they're here. I think so many college students probably aren't taking advantage of the opportunities they have, and that's not right. That's not their fault. Also, at 18 to 20 years old, you don't need to have your life figured out anyway. You don't need to be taking advantage of opportunities left and right. But I'm at a point in life where it's just like, right, if there's something I can go to that I feel like I'm going to meet somebody that could potentially 10 years down the line help me, I'm gonna do. Like, when I say my sole goal in life right now is to network my ass off, is because I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I have sent myself into so many crises these last 2 weeks trying to figure out, where am I going to get more money? Where am I going to get more money? When I don't have to be doing that. Essentially, really, at the end of the day, I have a stable place I can stay. I'm not in danger. I can afford food. I can afford the gas I need, right? Yes, I cannot go out and do exuberant things. I cannot go out and do anything fancy right now. But ultimately, it's right. The reason I keep doing tarot is because I keep having to trust my gut. Because, right, I haven't seen the payoffs yet. And I'm literally just doing what feels right. But I also will never doubt that feeling. Because that feeling has saved my life so many fucking times. It's just, I don't know. I feel in such a weird bubble because, like I said, I literally woke up today finally, like, right, Tiffaney, going back to the highs and lows. I had that day like a week ago where I was like, I figured it out. I don't need to be in a rush. And like quite literally the next day I got very fucking depressed all over again. And so like even today, right, I'll probably have therapy tomorrow, and who knows what state of mind I'll be in because I literally never know. But I'm just trusting my gut. I'm gonna let you speak, Gigi.
I was gonna say, you should, instead of like setting up an automatic text thing to tell me to relax, in addition to that, instead of I guess, you should probably send yourself a message like, trust your gut, and you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go on to the next thing. You are going on to the next thing by being still. Like, by being stable and creating like not just an average for like your ups and downs mentally, but also like your surroundings. So if you gotta hang out and stay with your dad for a while, okay, that's okay, because then you can buy a house.
That's literally what I was thinking.
Throwing your money away on rent because it's so ridiculous. That's what we're doing right now. John and I had that conversation yesterday, and it's like, damn,
it like, sucks. Yeah,
we could be paying off a house right now, and instead we're in. Don't get me wrong, I love our apartment, but like, I want to walk outside naked if I want to, on my land, in my house.
I just want to say, this is my house.
This is my house, and I'm gonna paint this shit green, and then I'm gonna change it, and then I'm not gonna have to worry about in 8 months. Mine. Exactly, in 8 months that I have to find this color of bland and paint that color of bland again. You know what I mean? I just want to, and I want to go home and like have something, so where even if it's like, I literally have dreams. I have this reoccurring dream constantly for like the past 2 years where I just buy this lot of land and it's a rectangle, and it is not at all what I want, but I just buy this lot of land and it's a rectangle and it's barren as shit, but the soil is good and the grass coming out of it's good, and I'm happy. I'm like, all right, let's get building.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, and then realistically, it's like, well, you have to spend money to buy the materials, and then you're going to have all this time to build it. And I don't know how to build it. Wrong. I have YouTube.
I can do anything.
I can do anything I want to. I have YouTube. I will be fine. It's easy.
Yeah.
Listen, some of the people that I've met that can build a barn, I'm like, okay.
You can build a barn, but I can't.
You can do that? Okay. I have YouTube. And you know what else I have? Trial and error. and determination.
The need to not get it right the first time, I'm trying to keep reinstilling that in myself.
Yeah, and if it isn't right the first time, bit of baling twine, bit of duct tape, that's fine. I'll fix it later. And also, there was a teacher from my primary school or elementary school, and there's very few things that I've retained from my childhood as like good advice. One of them was always keep a hair tie on your wrist when you go out partying so you can tie back your hair when you throw up. And the second one was measure twice, cut once. So I just measure it twice, cut it once, build my bond.
That's actually great advice. I don't think I've ever measured twice.
Yeah.
And I've been
measure
off
twice,
a lot.
Cut once. Measure twice, cut once. He said that, and it was for some like, it was for this competition because I was on the road a lot as a kid. But my parents, like whenever we weren't on the road, I was in school for like social life and like whatever. Because I was also homeschooled. Like I did a lot of schooling in a short amount of time. And it was for this competition. They were making like these boats, like these styrofoam boats that they made these little motors for. And it was for this competition that I couldn't go to, but they put me on a team anyway. So like I got to paint the boat, you know. I know what the fuck was going on, but like I got to be a part of it. And he said that, and it just like, I don't know, it just like branded in my head, measure twice, cut once, and keep a hair tie on your wrist, which was not said by a teacher. Just to clarify, that was
maybe that's my problem. I'm just out here eyeballing shit, and I don't measure anything.
It works sometimes.
It's like
sometimes it does. Sometimes
that looks right,
and then you're
literally
right.
the hand.
I know.
That's my model for my whole life.
I do. But sometimes that kind of measuring does work too. Just like using your knuckles. I do this, and then I'm like, okay,
yeah. If I'm putting up house decor, absolutely not measuring that shit. I'm eyeballing the fuck out of that shit.
Oh yeah.
When we were doing work on the house, though, it doesn't work as well. It does not work as well.
No, you need things to click into place.
Yeah, that's the part that was hard. What do you have to say, Reese?
Like I was just thinking about what you guys were talking about, and then goes along with like the highs and lows and stuff. And I got to the point where I was, you know how I was talking about starting school, and like I haven't heard anything, and I was kind of getting discouraged. And then I actually was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna do it. And then I was like, is it because I don't want to do it, or is it because I'm being my worst enemy and self-sabotaging again? And then so I'm to the point where it's like the money is scaring me because it takes a lot of money to do the courses that I need to do and get like the certificates and stuff. And I also worry about failing. Like my worst thing is like I worry about failing all the time. And I go back to like my whole like physical stature where I'm just like, there's times where like I'm exhausted and I can't do things. And I worry about like falling behind on courses or falling behind on classes and things like that. And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, if I can get on a roller coaster, I could do some classes, because it was like one of those things where it was like I was terrified, and the fact that like I overcame that fear like and just did the thing, and I was just like, okay, maybe I can apply that to the courses. And then I was about to get on here, and I found out that I got my congratulations letter, and it was like, yay! Cool now. And I'm like, oh my god. And I got like so excited, and I was like, why did I want to quit this? And it was immediately because like my fear of failure, like constantly, because I feel like I'm failing all the time in like parts of my life because of like what I've been going through. But I really need to start thinking about like the whole, like you guys said, where all the things that I am doing, even though like, you know, think of those more than what I'm not doing. And I feel like that's a lot of my problem is I don't know if anybody else has that, where they just self-sabotage a lot and like their negativity just gets in the way of that.
Me.
I was just gonna note on the fear, and I've done it again, the fear of failure, because I have suffered from this. Literally my earliest memories are me having a panic attack at the age of 5 because I'm in school, fearing failure because I thought my life is not going to work out if I fail, whatever it was at any time. Literally should have been in therapy a long time ago. Besides the point.
Same.
Yeah, I recently took my midterm for Intro to Microeconomics, and I failed miserably. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, I sat there and I closed the computer and I sobbed. I sobbed hard. I sobbed because I didn't fail it because I didn't know the information. I failed it because I didn't have a graphing calculator. And we had not needed a graphing calculator up until this point. Why on the midterm? We weren't given graphs. We were given equations that we needed to graph. I don't fully understand, especially when it didn't say we needed a graphing calculator, but that's besides the point. It literally said in big bold red letters, we had enough time to do this. We had 2 attempts, right? Whatever. He's not changing the grade no matter what. It wasn't worth me reaching out. But this is like the first time in my life I've ever failed something like that. And I mean, like that day I took it with me, but it was a hard hit. I mean, Tiff knows I studied my ass off for this, and I went into the midterm feeling confident because I had studied so hard and I felt like I did understand it. And it wasn't that I didn't, it was that I didn't have the materials that I needed to actually properly take the test. That's besides the point. The next day I woke up and it wasn't my biggest concern, and the day after that it wasn't my biggest concern. I spent probably about a week avoiding my grade book because I was terrified to see. I still have an 80% in the class. I am not failing the class. I failed a test, and I will have another opportunity to take a final. This time I will show up with my graphing calculator ready to fucking go. But I think, it's a back to the trauma response of catastrophizing. And I do this, I've always, almost every big test I've ever taken in my life, I've literally sobbed my way through it. Why I wasn't in therapy, I don't know. I've always had that fear, and I mean deep-rooted fear. And I think I'm at a point where things like that, and it was also right because I've been through so much in life. I've been through so much, and I used to get so pissed thinking about how I used to cry taking tests because I was like, it meant nothing. I'm here, and it has had absolutely no determination on me getting there. And that was kind of what the attitude I took into it. I was like, yes, I just failed this midterm, but I know 5 years from now, Natalie's not going to give a single fuck, right? That midterm that I failed is not going to determine the route my life takes at all. It has been the first time I've ever been able to give myself that grace, right? Going back to giving yourself grace. It's the first time I've ever, because literally before, the last time I was in school, failing a midterm, it would have ruined my whole week, if not my whole month. No joke. I would have carried that around, letting it, right, go back to the self-sabotage of, it making me feel like a failure. And, right, because I have this indisputable proof that I'm now a failure because I failed a fucking test, right? But, right, it's we are not our thoughts. Everybody knows I really love Trisha Paytas. I don't know if it's a character flaw or something I love Trisha Paytas. It's not something I'm embarrassed about. But it's one of those things. I also have really enjoyed certain things that her husband says, and he's a very just spiritual, go with the flow kind of person. But one of the things he said recently, and he was really delving into it deeper. He's like, you are not your thoughts, right? We cannot necessarily control our thoughts. That's not always a thing, but I think we do this thing, especially Tiffaney, I'm going to call you out because I think me and you are very similar, where we'll have a thought and then we'll feed into the thought instead of letting, right? Yeah, the thought can happen and it can pass, but we don't let it pass because we hyper fixate on the thought.
It's called rumination.
Yes. There's a word for it. And I've been trying desperately to let my thoughts be thoughts, right? Let them flow. Instead of, right, when I had that voice, right, like I said, I sat there and I bawled after I closed, because halfway through the thing, I was like, I'm just not going to look at my grade, but it didn't give me an option. At the end, I couldn't close my computer fast enough, and unfortunately, I saw it, and I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to avoid it to begin with, but I saw it, and I think all of this just to say is I let it go. instead of looking for all the reasons I was a failure, I looked for all the reasons why I knew this did not determine my whole life course. Because that's what I do is like, right, this thing will happen and I'm like, well, now I'm never going to fucking get my degree and now this is all just useless and now I'm just going to spend my life doing the same shit I've always fucking done. And I can so quickly, it's not even funny, like dig myself into such a mean-spirited thought process, like, right? Because at the end of the day, the only person I'm being mean to in all of those thoughts, right? Because if somebody else came to me and was like, this just happened, you know what I would never tell them? The things I tell myself. Like, that would not be, I'd be like, no, like, that literally is such a small thing. Like, it's okay. And if you failed the class, you know what? I'll take it again. Because at least the second time I do it, I've learned some shit. Like, I'm trying so hard to take things lighter than I've ever taken them because I've always taken things so heavily. And I think there's importance to both of it, right? There's some people who don't take anything seriously, and there's, right? Balance. We're looking for balance here.
Stability.
I want stability, please.
You're planting the
seeds.
You're planting the seeds, so you are gonna get it.
I'm gonna water the fuck out of them too. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm also gotta know that I'm gonna, right? I have to have grace for when I hit the low parts. That's the hard part.
Sometimes it's winter and the flowers don't grow.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really tired of it being cold.
Okay.
But yeah, all of that tangent. Just say, Reese, I don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Don't let, when something bad happens, stop you from going forth anyway, right? Isn't that always the lesson, that things are gonna happen? And well, if you can either let it stop you or not.
Especially because you're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that you are doing for you, not for your partners, not for your kids, not for the dogs, not for the cats. This is for you.
Yeah.
And
it's so
you deserve
personal.
to do that.
It's so personal, it's not even fucking funny. And every day I can send myself into tears thinking about walking the stage. That is, when I'm walking the stage, see, I'm gonna start crying talking about it now. I spent my whole life waiting for that moment, and there were so many years where I thought I'd never get it. Where I thought, this fucking earth sucks so fucking much, and I just wanted one fucking thing, and I can't even get it. Which, right, there's so many things that apply to, but I'm making it happen anyway. And that's what I think about whenever I get really fucking low, or I start to feel like I've done too much, or I can't fucking possibly, I think about that day that I'm gonna get to walk across that stage and do the thing. Like, right, and it's something so many people get that I know they're not gonna recognize because they didn't have to go through what I went through to get there. But I will know, right? I saw a speech from somebody giving a speech at a college ceremony, but he was like, you want to know, like, why? Right? It was the struggle that makes this so significant, right? If this was just given to you, it wouldn't feel that important, but it's the fact that I had to work my ass off and I had to give it everything, and I had to go through so many failures to get to this point that make it so important to me. And I just think about that day. I think about that day so much because I try not to live in the future. Obviously, I'm not like thinking about everything, but I think about that moment that they're going to call my name and I'm going to get to walk across that stage and know I did it. Like, I did it despite all odds stacked against me. And most people probably won't know how significant that is, but I will. And that's what matters to me. I'm gonna let you go ahead, Reese.
You're good. I have the same things. I have the same things to say. Basically, I've gotten myself out of the worst type of mental anguish like I could ever think of, and the fact that I'm still fighting every day with trying to do basic things and stuff like that. I feel like I should be able to get through this. Like, I mean, I have a brain. I used to be really good at school, and like that knowledge just doesn't go away. Like it's in there somewhere. And like I said, I feel like what drives me now is the fact that if I get this done, I get to help people out of the things that I've experienced and the things that I know I can help with and make a difference with. And that's where a lot of my drive is coming from now, is the fact that I can use whatever knowledge I get to help people. And that's all I've ever really wanted to do, is help people. Ever since I was a kid. Like, I mean, I know I shouldn't have been helping my parents and been their therapists and things like that, or my friends for that matter. But I've always been that person that people come to and talk to. But it'd be nice to have the background to, like, with college, to help with that and different ways to not. My problem now is I take things so personally, that like I want to help them with everything I have, and I end up destroying myself at the same time. So I'm trying to, like, I feel like that going to college will give me the professionalism to be able to separate and be able to help them, but also keep myself safe at the same time, because I have a bad habit of not knowing when to walk away, or like when to, put the boundaries up. And I feel like a lot of that will help me and figure that out. But I also know it's going to be really hard. But everything I've done in life has been really hard. So I shouldn't, just give up just because it's going to be hard. Like, everything is hard. Like you said, it wouldn't
Easy or hard.
It wouldn't be worth it if it was easy.
Yeah, there was a TikTok sound. I don't know if anybody else heard it, that kind of like focuses on that, where it's like, no matter what you do, it's gonna be hard, right? Like, doing what you're doing right now is hard. That's why you're here. But so is change. So it's a matter of deciding which hard you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always a matter of deciding, because also life is life, and you have to go through certain cycles in order to get to certain places. I think life is always right. I think we relive the same lessons over and over again until we learn them. I believe fully in that. At least in my life, in my experience, that's what I've experienced until I have gotten the lesson life is trying to teach me. Stability being this one that I'm talking about every year. I'm like, why is this happening again? Why is this happening again? And finally, I'm like, oh shit, the stability that I'm putting in other people's hands, I should take that back and figure that shit out myself.
Mm-hmm.
Life is full of lessons too. Like, you have to remember that the lesson is important. Like,
it is.
Instead of seeing it as something that is like life-changing, that's terrible, you also can realize that there is like a lesson there. Like, if someone hurt me, you can sit there and think of all the ways on like why, but a lot of it is to teach you the fact that, maybe you just had a boundary that they weren't okay with, how you say, like, they're willing to not go against, like, they're willing to go against that to I can't explain it very well. I'm sorry, my brain just went.
You have a boundary that they don't respect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the lessons that were the hardest for me was when people would leave. And then I realized that, like, the whole seasons thing, people are going to be in your life for seasons and to teach you what you need to know. And a lot of the reasons why I was so hurt is because I didn't have the boundary. I did have the boundary, but then they decided that they don't want to respect that. So they're going to sit there and walk all over it. And I've learned that that's not okay. Like, and that's what I need to learn to be a therapist, is that I want to help you, but I'm not going to hurt myself to help you. You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of that, I'm trying to learn the lessons instead of taking them as like, oh, this is the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to learn those lessons. And maybe my lesson is to slow down. And maybe that's why I have to take care of my body and things like that, because I have gone over and beyond for so many people for so long that now I'm to the point where I need to slow down and start thinking about things more and like going slower with it.
Water your own seeds. I also agree that will be something that you will, like, they will focus on teaching you, is if you are becoming a therapist in that type of field you're going into, that will be very strongly emphasized, is like, right, you want to take care of others, but in order to take care of others, you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of others. I think it's something we probably all struggled with at points in time, but I do think if you're professionally going down that field, that is something that they are very adamantly looking for and teaching and instilling. And I think it'd be very difficult to get a job as a therapist if you're not meeting your own needs, because you will take on other people's problems. If you, right, Maslow, whatever the hierarchy, you got to be reaching them in order to help others, because I agree that I do feel like my life purpose, my goals in life are to aid others, right? I walked down a path and I want to help other people walk down it too, because I think life can be beautiful again, even after we've gone through traumatic experiences. And I think that there are things to live for. But I also think that's sometimes the hardest part to figure out, right? Like that's the hardest. Like we've talked about it so much. We all have this tenacity to catastrophize, and it sucks. Like when you're catastrophizing, you are stressing yourself out. You're putting yourself in this state of looking for everything that's wrong with you, looking for everything that's wrong with life, and you just are egging it on, like literally just amplifying it. And it's not so much that we can completely turn that off, but I think it is, right? The goal is to get to the point where you recognize, oh, I am catastrophizing right now. So like, right, my thoughts are just that. They flow and they can go. And I can welcome new thoughts in if I'm not so if I'm not so focused on other thoughts. I do have to wrap this up on my end because they just got home with the baby and I watched them pull in and they're totally about to walk through that door, and I'm certain Chance's ready for a nap.
I'm also ready for a nap.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I probably don't have time for a grounding exercise, although I think we all should do them.
Yes.
I have to log off. I think everybody else should do a grounding exercise, and okay. I promise I will do one too as soon as Chance leaves. Tiff, I don't know if you want to possibly turn on the recorder for the grounding exercise.
I can't because I didn't start the meeting.
Okay, that's okay.
I might be able to screen record it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because if you can possibly do that, that would really help out. If not, GJ, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been putting in the first episode one in a lot of them. Editing-wise, it's super easy to do, but yeah.
Okay.
They're about to walk through that door right now, though.
Okay.
I love you all so much. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay healing. And I will see you all next week. And I also love you all so much. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay, cool. I am going to be honest. I haven't done a grounding exercise for myself in a long time because I don't know why. I think I do my grounding exercises unintentionally. So like I will, like for instance, I've actually been doing it this whole time because one of the I talked about having to get emotional support animals, and getting my animals registered as emotional support animals. And this is Cody, and Cody is actually my grounding dog, is what the therapist, from what I've described, how he helps me. And it sounds gross, but his breath helps me. So I think it really does. And I think some people like essential oils, and some people think just like the smell of rain or fresh cut grass or their mom's cooking or something. Like there's this scent that brings you kind of back into your body. So I've been sniffing my dog's breath through this episode. When Natalie goes back to edit this, she's going to notice it. She could put like grounding, Gigi's grounding, Gigi's grounding. But we can, I don't know if anybody else wants to lead it. Or I'll do it. Okay. Okay. Stop giggling. You're making me nervous. I think you can do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed. So if you just sit down with your back straight, and if you can, have your feet planted on the ground. If not, that's fine. If you can't have your feet planted on the ground, put something in your hand, like a crystal or your hairbrush or a fidget spinner, something to just focus on. Yeah, cool. Whatever that thing is that Reese has, fun. I'm going to be holding Cody because I just like the way his ears feel in between my fingers. And just take a second to breathe in through your nose if you're able, and out through your mouth. And just kind of focus on the thing that's in your hand for like 5 breaths. And kind of like, I don't know, just think about how it feels and why you chose that object. And then don't think about it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the thing that's in your hand and focus on it. And I think we're at breath 3. Breath 4. And breath 5. And that's it. That's all I would do today because I've been extremely out of practice on doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
And I just do it on accident. And I don't know if that helped you guys, but Cody is my best little grounding tool, and I love him so much. And he is so accepting to everything. He came in here at the beginning of the episode, and he was like, he can't jump up. He's old, so he can't jump up into my lap.
Yeah.
And there's also like obstacles. But he was like asking to come up. And I think he knows. I really do think he knows that he helps me. Especially when he can feel my energy. And also Wadka. I don't know if you guys saw my cat jump up here a few times.
Yeah.
They both try to sit in my lap, and in this chair it doesn't really fit. And then they were like arguing with each other. So, but they both come to me and they just help me. You just help me a lot, don't you, big guy? Yes, you're the best little guy.